Welcome to Global Power Play, the podcast where world leaders face off on the issues shaping our world. I'm your host, Alex, and today we have an extraordinary debate between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The topic, the ongoing Ukraine war, now in its fourth year, marked by recent Russian drone attacks on Kyiv and stalled U.S. military aid. We'll explore their views on the conflict's causes, current state, and paths to peace. Each leader gets equal time, and I'll keep things on track. Let's start with opening statements. President Trump, you're up first.
Thank you, Alex. Great to be here. Really fantastic. This Ukraine war, it's a disaster, a total mess. Thousands dying every week, cities destroyed, terrible. I said I'd end it fast, and I still believe we can. But Vladimir's making it tough. I called him, had a great talk, but he's not moving enough. We need peace, a ceasefire, and big trade deals with Russia. They've got huge potential, jobs, wealth. Ukraine's got to be realistic. 2 Crimea's been going for years. Let's make a deal, save lives, move forward.
Thank you, President Trump. President Putin, your opening statement.
Good day, Alex. Russia did not start this conflict. It was provoked by NATO's expansion and Ukraine's refusal to respect our security interests. We are ready for peace, as I told President Trump, but Ukraine must accept reality. Crimea and Donbas are Russian territories now. Without this, no ceasefire is possible. Our military actions protect our people, and we will continue until our goals are achieved.
Thank you, President Putin. Let's dive into our first debate segment. The causes and current state of the Ukraine war. President Trump, you've called Russia's recent drone attacks on Kyiv, with 550 drones and missiles in one night, not necessary. Yet you've paused U.S. weapons, shipments to Ukraine, like Patriot missiles stuck in Poland. How do you justify this to Ukraine, which is facing civilian casualties and infrastructure damage?
Look, Alex, nobody wants peace more than me. Nobody. Those drone attacks, I told Vladimir, stop it, bad timing. They're killing civilians. 23 injured in Kyiv. Not good. But America's got to come first. Our stockpiles are low. We can't keep giving away missiles like it's nothing. I told Zelensky, you got to give something to get something. Crimea's been Russian for 12 years. Donbass too. Let's stop the fighting, sit down, and make a deal. I'm pushing hard for that, believe me.
President Trump talks peace, but weakens Ukraine by stopping aid, which only prolongs the war. Our strikes are precise, targeting military sites, not civilians. Ukraine's attacks on our airfields, like the one this week, force us to respond. NATO's weapons in Ukraine threaten Russia's security. We proposed peace terms in Istanbul neutrality, territorial recognition, but Ukraine and its allies rejected them. This is the root of the problem.
President Putin, Ukraine's President Zelensky called your recent attacks cynical, especially after your call with President Trump. President Trump, do you believe Russia is negotiating in good faith? Or are these attacks undermining your peace efforts?
Alex, I'll be honest, I'm disappointed. I thought Vladimir and I had a good talk, very productive, but then boom, drones on Kyiv. Not helpful, Vladimir, not helpful. I think he wants a deal, but he's got to show it. Stop the missiles, sit down with me, Zelensky, we'll figure it out. I've done tougher deals than this. Ukraine's got to compromise to no NATO, maybe some land concessions. That's how you end wars, through strength and smarts.
President Trump's ceasefire talk is empty without addressing NATO's threat. Ukraine's NATO ambitions and Western weapons on our border are unacceptable. Our actions in Kyiv are defensive, protecting Russian interests. We are open to talks, but only if Ukraine recognizes our territories and abandons NATO. President Trump's aid cuts show he understands Ukraine cannot win. Why prolong the suffering?
Let's move to our second segment. Paths to peace. President Putin, you've demanded Ukraine cede occupied territories and abandon NATO membership. President Trump, You've proposed an immediate ceasefire and suggested economic incentives, like trade deals with Russia. President Trump, how do you convince Ukraine to accept terms that involve giving up land and sovereignty?
It's simple, Alex. Nobody wins if this war keeps going. Oil prices up, economy's hurting, thousands dead. I told Zelensky, look, you're brave, but you can't fight forever without our missiles. Crimea's gone, Donbass is a war zone. Give Russia something, get peace, rebuild your country. Bring Vladimir to the table, throw in some trade deals, make Russia rich. Everybody wins. I'm the best at this. I've done it before.
President Trump's ideas are interesting, but peace requires realism. Ukraine's government refuses to acknowledge the will of the people in Crimea and Donbass who chose Russia. NATO's expansion provoked this war, and it must stop. We agreed in Istanbul to neutrality and demilitarization, but Ukraine walked away. If President Trump can pressure Ukraine to accept these terms, talks can begin. Until then, we protect our interests.
President Trump Ukraine sees territorial concessions as surrendering sovereignty. President Putin Zelensky insists on full Russian withdrawal. How do you bridge this gap when both sides are so entrenched?
Alex, it's about leverage. I'm telling Zelensky, you need us, we're your biggest backer. Without our aid, they're in trouble. I'll sit them down with Vladimir, maybe at Mar-a-Lago, great place for talks. We'll draw a line, Russia keeps some land, Ukraine gets peace, maybe some economic help from us. It's not perfect, but it stops the killing. Vladimir, you gotta meet me halfway, no more drones during talks.
Sovereignty means nothing if Ukraine is destroyed. Zelensky's refusal to negotiate prolongs the war. Russia is ready to discuss peace, but only with serious partners who respect our red lines. No NATO, recognition of our territories. President Trump's pressure on Ukraine is a step forward, but actions matter more than words. Stop Western weapons, and we can talk.
Thank you both. Let's wrap up with closing statements. President Trump?
Alex, this war's gotta end, and I'm the guy to do it. I'll get Vladimir, Zelensky, everybody in a room, make a deal, save lives. America's leading, we're strong, and we'll bring peace with prosperity, fantastic opportunity for everyone.
Russia seeks peace, but not at the cost of our security. Ukraine and the West must respect our conditions. We are ready for dialogue, but only if it addresses the root causes. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Presidents Trump and Putin, for this intense discussion. The Ukraine war remains a global challenge, with no easy answers. To our listeners, stay informed and join us next time on Global Power Play.